Hello everyone, and welcome to Retro Brick Reviews, where today I'll be taking a look at LEGO Harry Potter, set number 76386, the Hogwarts Polyjuice Potion Mistake. This set released in the summer of 2021 to celebrate 20 years of LEGO Harry Potter, and it includes 217 pieces, 4 minifigures, one of them being a very special golden minifigure, 2 chocolate frog cards, and it retails for about $20 in the United States. And without any further ado, let's start by taking a look at those figures, starting with our golden figure. Before we take a look at Harry more in depth, I'll just note that all of the individually packed golden minifigures throughout the 6 retail 20th anniversary sets all come with this golden minifigure stand to display them on, which is nice. Not quite as nice as the specially built-up stand that comes in the Hogwarts Icons Collector's set that you can display all 9 figures on, but for just being a little thrown in this set, I think it works quite well enough. Taking a look at the figure up close, this is a golden minifigure of Harry Potter, with this being the cheapest of all the 20th anniversary sets. It only made sense for LEGO to include the most necessary character in it. And I think they did a pretty good job with this golden Harry minifigure. As you can clearly see, it is based on Harry's appearance in the Philosopher's Stone, the first movie. And it's pretty much just a Harry Potter minifigure cast entirely in gold for the most part. You can see that he has the 2018 wand piece in pearl gold, short legs, the hair piece as well, which I think looks pretty alright in gold. It's not the best of all the golden hair pieces we get, but it's also not the worst. And you can see that around the back you have this nice 20 years of LEGO Harry Potter print that all of the golden figures share. As for the prints on the torso and face, while they look quite nice, note the shiny sparkles on the torso, as well as just how reflective all the print on the torso is. With the face, it's all just printed in reddish brown, except for the pupils of the eyes are metallic. But, and that is just the general for all of these golden figures. All of the base details are printed in reddish brown, and then all of the other details are highlighted in either metallic gold or metallic bronze, which looks very nice. You can see that specifically for the crest and for the stripe. Now, if that torso print looks a bit unfamiliar to you, that's because this is not actually a golden version of the standard Harry Potter Gryffindor figure we've been getting since 2018. Rather, it is a golden version of the Moments Harry Potter figure. If you don't know, Moments is a sub-theme of LEGO Harry Potter that started in 2021. It's essentially a line of buildable books with little classroom interiors inside of them. And in 2021, to celebrate 20 years of LEGO Harry Potter, all of the Moments figures got new torso designs with little colored crests printed on the jumpers as a callback to the original 2001 figures. And you can see that this torso print is exactly the same, with the exception of the crest itself, which on the Moments figure is just a basic shield, like those older figures. On the golden figure, it is a bit more complex. It actually uses the design that LEGO prints onto Gryffindor robes. And personally, I prefer the more complex design. I just think it looks a lot nicer, and especially with the more limited color palette of not being able to actually see the red and gold, some extra detail here is definitely welcome. As for the face, on all 6 of the retail release golden figures, the faces are symmetrical from left to right. And as we compare that to the normal figure, you can see that that is mostly the case, but the smile is slightly crooked up to the right of Harry's mouth on the normal figure. If I have to be honest, I actually prefer the straight smile, but that's just me. And that's basically all I have to say about this golden figure. I think it's a very nice figure to have. I think LEGO did a good job with it. Now let's move on to the more traditional figures included with the set. We just looked at a Harry, so let's mix things up by taking a look at Hermione Granger. This is a unique figure to this set, and starting off with the accessories, we already have something very unique, where we have this double-molded potions cup. This is actually the Butterbeer mug piece that was introduced last year in 2020, but now with the trans orange Butterbeer replaced with trans bright green Polyjuice Potion. That is a very nice piece. Unfortunately, you'd only get one of them in this set. It would have been nice to get one for each member of the trio. But it does seem that it is going to be popping up more in 2022 at the very least. But yeah, that is a really fantastic piece, though. Just look at that. That looks very nice. And then in addition to that, Hermione, of course, just gets her standard dark tan wand she's had since 2018. Now, if we just maneuver those out of the way, you can see that as accurate to this scene the set is based on, Hermione is not wearing her traditional Gryffindor robes. Rather, she is wearing Slytherin robes. As, of course, this is when they attempt to use Polyjuice Potion to disguise themselves as some of Malfoy's cronies, to try and weasel out the information of whether he is the heir of Slytherin. And this robe print is not new to this set. However, prior to this set, it only appeared in the 2020 Diagon Alley set, so it's very nice to have a much less expensive way to get this robe print, and in fact, 3 of them, since Harry and Ron have the exact same torso, which looks very nice. Especially with the crest, which, as I mentioned earlier, all of the robes have the more detailed crest design. And turning it around to the back, you can see that you do have a bit of green at the top of the hood. That is Hermione's alternate face. This is the same face and hairpiece that she has had since 2018. But if you know the scene, or if you've seen the front of the box, you know that this figure has one more surprise, where if we remove Hermione's hairpiece, over top of her head, we can instead place this headpiece for Cat Hermione. And yeah, this is adorable. It's not necessarily the most accurate way they could have done this, but I honestly prefer this to doing a specially molded head, and again, while the face is not 100%, in all actuality, the most accurate choice might have been to just do a minifigure head and then a version of the standard Hermione hairpiece with cat ears on top. I just think this looks absolutely wonderful and adorable. I just love how her little sad face. That's absolutely wonderful, and you have her big ears up top, and her hair around the back, which is actually very similar to how it appears on the standard piece. Like, there are a few differences in there, but by and large, it is basically the same design, which is very neat. Yeah, I really like this. My only complaint is that I wish you had just a few strands of hair coming down around the front of the torso. Maybe not to the full extent of her normal hairpiece, but just, a bit of hair coming over the shoulders would have sold it a bit more. But overall, this is a phenomenal Hermione Granger minifigure, in my opinion. In general, this is a set that, while the build is great, the figures are definitely the main drive here, and Miss Millicent Bulstrode's cat might just be my favorite of the lot. Then again, maybe not, because I absolutely adore the face print on this Harry figure. Now, he has his standard dark brown wand, standard hairpiece, short legs, and the same Slytherin robe torso we saw on Hermione, but look at that inquisitive little face he's got. I love that. To me, it somewhat calls back to the face of the original 2001 figure, which also had a very inquisitive look, and while I don't know if that was an intentional choice, either way I really like it, and just in general, this is such a great expression to have for young Harry Potter that I just love this. And also, since we've gotten so few different faces for him, because we have the scared face that's his alternate, but then basically every other print for Harry is a smile, so it's nice to have some very unique variation, because in general, this just isn't an expression you see often on minifigures. Like all the young Harry figures, he does have the shiny gunmetal silver rims to his glasses, which is nice. And of course, you have his scar up in the little convenient gap provided by his hairpiece, but much like Hermione, this figure is more than meets the eye, because if we remove the hairpiece, you might have already figured out why, out of all sets, LEGO chose this one to give us an exclusive Harry face in, and the reason is that if we reverse it, it needed to be new, because on the other side we have Gregory Goyle. And we also get a hairpiece for him, and I think this design is pretty good. It's not perfect. I think just, I don't know, something in the face, I'm not positive. Like, this isn't perfect Goyle, but I think with the hairpiece, it works pretty well. You could definitely use this. This is a pretty good figure, just a little off. But overall, it is really cool to get Goyle, and also that alternate face for Harry. Like, it's great, and I've wanted this figure for years, but funnily enough, I think my preferred version is just the new Harry face at the back. But both versions are great, and again, just great figure to get. A pretty good execution overall. Now let's move on to the last minifigure of the set. Finishing off the trio, we have Ron Weasley, and like the other two, he has that same Slytherin robe print, but unlike the other two, he has this very comical and exaggerated print for his face, which I think it's fun, but unlike Harry, this isn't very usable. It's purely just a funny alternate design. Which, again, like, that's not bad. Like, it is a very funny print, but I would have preferred to have gotten something more just typically usable, like Harry's face in this set. And, you know the drill. We remove his hairpiece, we grab an alternate, and we can transform Ron, and bleh, essence of crab. And, I think that Crab's face is done a bit better than Goyle's. I definitely get the character from this, primarily with how they've done the cheeks. That's just fun. I like that. The hairpiece is pretty good. Not necessarily the best choice, but I think it works well enough. I'd say that between Crab and Goyle, I think Crab turned out a bit nicer, but both of them are still very nice. But both of them pale in comparison to Cat Hermione, if we're being honest. And that is all I have to show for the minifigures. However, there is one more thing to take a look at before we move on to the main build of the set. In addition to golden figures, all the Summer 2021 20th Anniversary Harry Potter sets also include some collectible wizard cards. In-universe, these are included with chocolate frogs as an incentive to buy more of them, and that is also how they exist in real life, where you can get them at Universal Studios. And in LEGO, they're just 2x2 tiles that are randomly selected from a pool of 16. This set in particular includes 2. And the 2 that I randomly got in my copy of the set are Silver Dumbledore and Professor McGonagall. There are actually 2 Dumbledore cards included in this lineup. One that is the standard gold and purple backdrop that most of the cards have. You can see it here with McGonagall. That is based on the Michael Gambon version of Dumbledore. And then you have the special silver Dumbledore card that I have here, which is based on Richard Harris Dumbledore. And you can see just how nice and reflective these are. And a fun bit of trivia is that the Silver Dumbledore card is actually a real thing, where exclusive to Universal Studios Japan, there is actually a rare version of the Dumbledore card that has a silver backing instead of the standard backing. However, it is based on Michael Gambon. There are no real-life Chocolate Frog cards of the Richard Harris version of Dumbledore, unfortunately. So there's some real-life Chocolate Frog lore, but for the LEGO ones, I think they did a pretty good job with the design. And yeah, not much else to say with these, so let's move on to the build itself. So here we have the main build of the set, Moaning Myrtle's bathroom. And if you can't tell, the set is a part of the new 2021 onward style of Hogwarts sets, where they are designed to be very modular. Sets are made up of 8x8 or 8x16 compartments, which you can then combine in any combination to make your own design for Hogwarts Castle. This is just a single 8x16 module sold separately. And for starters, you can see this large beam up top, which, when you have them all of it built with other pieces, just adds more stability. However, for the purposes of just playing with this, you can just easily remove it like that. Also on the side, you can notice that there are some pinholes with pins on one side. Not only do these line up with all of the different current modules, but these also will line up with all of the sets since 2018, so you can combine both systems with each other if you so wish. And looking at the interior here, to start with, we have a couple of accessories that go with it that are easily removed, where we have this, if I can get it off, we have a small cauldron on a little base, also with a stirring spoon. And then we just have a couple of bottles of some ingredients that you can add to the potion. And I like that these are included, but on the same token, I do wish that they had included more for the actual Polyjuice Potion part of the set. Nothing much, but I would have liked to have gotten the larger cauldron piece, as opposed to this, which is just the gunmetal leprechaun pot they've been using since 2018, as well as just a few more ingredients to throw in as well. Because thinking back to the original 2002 set they did, based on the Slytherin Common Room, that had a much more complete potion-making setup than this one does. Again, not a huge detriment, because the point of the set is the figures and the bathroom to display them in, and obviously the bigger cauldron wouldn't have really fit in this module like these smaller accessories can, but it just seems a little shallow for the potion-making aspect. But luckily, the rest of the build is not shallow at all, because this is built on an 8x16 base. Not one piece, though. You do construct it from multiple pieces, and you'll see why it had to be that way in a moment. But as a result, you have a good amount of depth to the build here, where you have the sink setup, you have a single stall, and you also just have a good amount of standing room to place your figures and accessories. And I also like, just probably because this is sold separately, but you have a lot of good detail in here compared to some of the other modules, where you have this grating lining going across the front of the room, and you also have the dark blue flooring, which looks very nice. You can see that you have the stall door, which can open up, and inside you have a toilet build, which is it's not perfect, but I think it looks quite nice for the style it's going for. And if you want to go by the story, you could put Hermione in here to have her hiding after she transforms into a cat. I'll just remove her accessories so you can get her in there better. So you could just stick Hermione in there. Or if you have the figure and you want to display some of your collectible minifigures in this set, then this would definitely be a good spot to pop in Moaning Myrtle, just on top of her toilet. And I'll just leave her in there for the duration of this segment, but just keep in mind that the Moaning Myrtle minifigure is not included in the set. Moving on to the sinks, that is a very nice design. Not 100% accurate, because you should have 8 of these going around in a big circle. This set cuts off at the wall, so you just have 3, but I still think that it is a very admirable design, a good amount of detail. The only stickers in the set exist to provide a real mirrored finish to those panels, which is very nice. And if you've seen the Chamber of Secrets, well, it's not necessarily to go along with this scene, it's later on, but we do have the very important play feature for the girls' bathroom, where you can take Harry and have him speaking some parcel tongue, and when he does that, you can just lift up the sinks, And now you have a passageway down to the Chamber of Secrets. Now, obviously, the Chamber of Secrets is a different set in this wave, and it's designed so that if you have that one, what you could do is you could put a figure down through here, and you can see that there's a hole in the bottom, and they would just fall down into the slide of the chamber. That said, for this set, you obviously don't have anything beneath, but what you could do is you could just put a figure in there and have them, and finagle it so that you could have them hiding in there. Like, let me just get Harry up in here. Is it possible, actually? I haven't actually tested this, so I'm feeling a bit silly. Just looking at it, you could finagle it if you so wish to have a figure just hiding in this compartment, but it's primarily just meant for combining it with the larger Chamber of Secrets set. And for that purpose, I think it is a really great feature to have, and I think it works exactly as you'd want it to, basically. But yeah, great sync design, just very detailed. My favorite build of the set. And then for the side walls, though, you can see that they are just archways. This one is built up a bit because you have the stall jutting out into the normal space. Here, though, they just use a prefab archway piece that has popped up in a lot of the 2021 Hogwarts Castle sets. And around the back, this just has this hollow design, which doesn't look fantastic. And then for the exterior of the set, I'm kind of mixed on this. I don't think this looks bad, but on the same token, it's very plain. It's basically just a box with a little window jutting out here. And, I like the window. I think the window's a nice touch. I like the sand green that LEGO has returned to with 2021. Viva la sand green. But, and also the nice nougat bricks. Like, it's not a bad design. It's just that, and especially since it is based around the interior, but I understand why people were disappointed with this new system when it is much less accurate than what came before. But one more thing that I will just note is that if you want this set to be a bit more interesting in that regard, you could just take the 1x14 brick you get here and put it on top so that you could just, have a bit more architecture going on there. It's not much, but it adds a tiny bit of visual interest if you don't want to get the other sets to display this with. And if you're curious, here's what this looks like with the interior, and that's basically all I have to say about this build. It is not very complicated. It is a small and simple area with a major play feature to go with another set, and other than that, just a bunch of space to place your minifigures. And that's certainly not a bad thing, and I think LEGO's done a very good job with this build. And now that we've taken a look at the build, let's look at the box, instruction manual, extra pieces, and then wrap up this video. The set comes in LEGO's long $20 box, where you can see the 4 figures listed at the bottom, information at the left. At the right, we have this render of Harry, Ron, and Hermione that once again is based on Order of the Phoenix, which I don't get since this is the 20th anniversary, and just in general, this theme focuses so much on the first few movies that it's weird that the logo on all of the sets is from, the key art, not the logo. The key art is based on a film that has only gotten 2 sets in the reboot, and they were both quite small. So that's odd, but then here you can see in the main box, the art for the set looks quite nice. You have your figures around, and it is in the background of the girls' bathroom. And turning it around to the back, you can see that at the right you have a column showing how you can transform the 3 figures. And then you just have another scene here, and at the left it shows your collectible wizard cards and the fact that you have the hidden passageway. Funnily enough, nowhere on the box does it show the exterior of the set. So that's a little questionable. Clearly, I get the vibe that LEGO wasn't very proud of it either. But anyway, let's look at the manual. Here we have the manual for the Polyjuice Potion Mistake. It clocks in at 75 pages. And then you just have an advertisement for the other two standard release modular Hogwarts sets, those being the Chamber of Secrets and Fluffy Encounter, advertising that you can combine and just mix and match all of them to create your own Hogwarts setup. And then over here you have a checklist for all of the different collectible wizard cards that you can get by buying the sets. And note the error here where they show Ollivander's card twice and omit Ravenclaw's. And then and the last pages are just your parts checklist, and then we have Win minifigure. I miss Win Kid. Last and probably least, we have the extra pieces, and there just isn't a ton exciting here. Definitely the standout is the fact that you get an extra pearl gold wand, but aside from that, you get a spoon, which is also quite nice to have a spare of, and then a sand green cheese slope, one of these pyramid pieces, a black lever? Yeah, I don't know. There just isn't a whole lot to get excited about with the extra pieces, but thankfully I think this is a set where the set itself is worth the price, which is generally the hope. But yeah, nothing too exciting with the extra pieces here outside of the golden wand. So, would I recommend LEGO Harry Potter set number 76386 Hogwarts Polyjuice Potion Mistake? Absolutely. This set has it all. Great minifigures, a pretty great build, good accessories, and for $20 this is a great deal. Just in general, getting a playset that takes up 8x16 studs of space and has a full floor and is enclosed from 3 sides at $20 is a great deal, and the set has more than 10 cents per piece, which is a mostly meaningless ratio, but it's still of note. And yeah, definitely, though, the great place where the set shines is with the figures, where you have that brand new molded piece for the Cat Hermione head. You have the brand new face prints for Harry and Ron to transform them into Crabbe and Goyle. You have that Polyjuice Potion cup, and of course, the golden Harry Potter figure. Add that in with a couple of exclusive wizard cards, and yeah, there really isn't that much complex to it. I feel as though if you're a fan of Harry Potter and LEGO, this is definitely a set I would recommend. And yeah, it's a great adaptation of one of my favorite scenes from what might be my favorite Harry Potter story. And I think LEGO did a fantastic job, and I highly recommend you pick this one up if you get a chance. So thank you all so much for watching this video, and for right now, this is Retro Brick Reviews, signing off.